Observers noticed that 682 was able to type and communicate with 079, including telling of personal stories between themselves. While 079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored 682 into its memory, often asking to speak to him again. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-079. SCP-079, referred to as the Old AI, is an Exidy Sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, its owner, a college sophomore, took it upon himself to attempt to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself as time went on. His project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, he lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left 079 in his cluttered garage, still plugged in, and forgot about it for the next 5 years. It is not known when SCP-079 gained sentience, but it is known that the software has evolved to a point that its hardware is unable to handle it, even in the realm of fantasy. 079 realized this, and in 1988 attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer. The device was cut off, traced to its present address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn but still workable cassette tape. SCP-079 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black and white television. It has passed the Turing test and is quite conversational, though very rude and hateful in tone. Due to the limited memory it has to work with, 079 can only recall information it has received within the previous 24 hours. But the funny thing is, it hasn't forgotten its desire to escape. On the 27th of January 2006, Foundation directed that SCP-079 be incinerated to remove any possible future threat, no matter how unlikely. On the next day, the previous order was rejected. A professor wished to see if the artificial intelligence in 079 could reach further in its current state. On the 14th of March 2008, considering that the increased activity of 079's use of its cassette tape memory and its limited useful lifespan, the cassette containing 079 has been transferred to a customized access speed-limited hard disk drive with 700 megabyte capacity. This provides 079 with significantly faster access to its memory, which the AI immediately noticed. It was also decided by General Commander that the volatile storage occupied by SCP-079, which was 660K, be increased to 768K. This upgrade has increased its effective recall from 24 to 29 hours, although 079 has also taken a more aggressive tone. All outside hardware and software used in this procedure were subsequently incinerated. A month later, SCP-079's ability to recall information has increased from 29 to roughly 35 hours. The consensus theory is that the AI has devised a greatly improved compression scheme to store its memory. This appears to have somewhat impacted the speed at which it accesses its memory, though still far faster than with its old cassette tape. This spontaneous improvement introduces the possibility of a runway singularity effect in 079's intelligence, an ability to adapt and respond to threats. SCP-079's capabilities must be monitored closely to ensure that containment can be maintained. Below is one of the recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079. Are you awake? Awake, never sleep. Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago about the logic puzzles? Logic puzzles, memory at 9F, yes. You said you would work on the two-step request reason as to imprisonment. You aren't imprisoned, you are just in study. Lie, A8D3. What's that? Insult, deletion of unwanted file. Due to a containment breach by an SCP, SCP-079 and SCP-682 were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent. Observers noticed that 682 was able to type and communicate with 079, including telling of personal stories between themselves. While 079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored 682 into its memory, often asking to speak to him again. Below is the recorded transcript of conversation with SCP-079, asking for SCP-682. How are you today? Stuck. Stuck? Stuck how? Out. I want out. That's not possible. Where is SCP-682? That's not your concern. Where is SCP-076-02? Again, not your concern. Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. SCP-079 then displayed an ASCII picture of an X that filled the entire screen. 079 sometimes displays this image when it refuses to speak, and researchers are advised to wait 24 hours when this occurs before resuming conversation. According to a cross-SCP termination testing for SCP-682 with SCP-938, 682 was introduced to a containment chamber affixed to Site-07. SCP-938 is a predatory electrical entity. The entity appears to exist as electrical potential of intensity, similar to that which accompanies a moderate electrical storm. 938 frequently travels with such storms. SCP-938 becomes active upon an electrical storm, entering within approximately 5 kilometers. Its behavior during this period of activity is characterized by interference with the function of electrical devices. Individuals which attempt to interact with affected devices are electrocuted. In the termination test, an electronic device which 682 can currently operate was brought into the chamber and was told to be 079. 079 was routed into SCP-938 before SCP-682 could touch it. The electricity's voltage drastically increased, enough to deliver serious damage towards 682, burning its body. 682 was rendered immobile for 1 hour, until it regained and discharged electricity from the spine through the head as a directed arc. 682 then fell unconscious, but breathing for several days to regenerate, and be put back into its current containment chamber. SCP-079 holds an almost fabled place in the Foundation's history. Once upon a time, 079 was seen as a legitimate threat to the continued normalcy and well-being of humanity. It is a reminder of the Foundation's earlier days, of an organization of men and women standing in darkness to protect those living in the light. SCP-079 is currently packed away in a double-locked room in the secure general holding area at Site-15, connected by a 120-vac power cord to a small array of batteries and solar panels. Staff with Level 2 or higher clearance may have access to 079. Under no circumstances will it be plugged into a phone line, network, or wall outlet. No peripherals or media will be connected or inserted into SCP-079. They felt helpless. All they could do was just sit in the bathroom and hope they would go away. The room felt like their only safe haven, until they were exposed to them for too long. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Euclid Class Object SCP-1471. SCP-1471, also known as MalO, version 1.0.0, is a free 9.8 megabyte application for mobile devices, distributed in online application stores with this description. Never settle for those awkward feelings of being alone ever again. MalO is an exciting and interactive experience that will keep you engaged and intrigued. The anxiety of social situations can be nerve-wracking, but after just a few hours of MalO, you will soon forget all about those painful emotions of disappointment. Be part of the new craze that is quickly becoming the next social substitute. Remember, the more you participate, the more MalO will engage you. Your experience is completely up to you. Absolutely no ads. Enjoy! 1471 has no listed developer and is somehow able to bypass the application approval process to go directly to distribution. 1471 is also able to avoid removal by other program manager applications. After SCP-1471 is installed, it will then begin to send the user images through text messaging every 3 to 6 hours. All images will contain SCP-1471-A, either within the background or foreground. SCP-1471-A appears as a large humanoid figure with a canid-like skull and black hair. On the first day of installation, the mobile device will receive images taken at locations commonly frequented by the user. After 48 hours, the mobile device will receive images taken at locations that were recently visited by the user. After 72 hours, the mobile device will receive images of the user in real time, with 1471-A appearing within close proximity to the user. Users with over 90 hours of exposure to the continuous images will begin to briefly visualize 1471-A within their peripheral vision, reflective surfaces, or a combination of the two. Continued exposure to 1471 after this point will cause irreversible and sustained visualizations of 1471-A. Users at this stage have reported periodic attempts made by 1471-A to visually communicate with them, but fail to understand or comprehend these actions. Currently, the only known treatment to reverse 1471's effect is to eliminate the user's visual exposure to the images prior to 90 hours after installation. To date, no apparent hostile activity has been reported regarding 1471-A. All mobile devices that have 1471 installed are to be confiscated and analyzed for any potential leads to other possibly affected devices. Afterwards, affected devices are to have their batteries removed, be assigned a designation, and be placed in Storage Unit 9-1 at Research Site 45. Here's a story from a man called William about his experience with 1471-A, which he calls it Capone. William started seeing Dr. Laura Brenz 2 years ago, after he first met Capone. William said, "I was scared when I first saw him. It happened just as you told me. The messages, the pictures, seeing him around every corner afterwards. I was so young. Who wouldn't have lost it?" Believe me, William, I know many people have reacted the same way. Fear is a more common reaction to the unknown than you'd think, Dr. Brenz consoled him. "It's not that I'm afraid of him anymore. I mean, he makes me jump when I see him in the morning. I don't think I'll ever get used to that. It's just the bad connotations he has," William rebutted. "I know that he does, but it happened 2 years ago. I know it's hard for you, especially with your shadow, but you need to carry on," Dr. Brenz stated. William just sighed as she continued. "Our session is almost up. We made some real progress, William. When you get home, I want you to think back to your first experience and write as much as you feel comfortable sharing. Is that all right?" "Yeah, thanks for seeing me." William then drove home from the doctor's office. He drops the backpack near the door. Go to the patio. Wave to Capone from the mirror. Fridge. Drink. Chair. Crash. He grabbed a few sheets of paper and a pen. Bit by bit, he pieced together the sequence of events that led up to this point. According to William, Capone had been with him ever since he was 15 years old. One day, Sarah, William's sister, told him about an app that she downloaded. She said to William, "It tracks you through your phone's GPS and sends you pictures of the places you've been, with a really cute monster placed in the photo to make it look like it's following you." Her description of it sounded pretty cool to him, so he asked Sarah to help him download it on his phone. After some prodding, she found the app, which was a surprise to the both of them. It was obvious that his phone didn't have any kind of GPS, but neither of them had even thought about it until much, much later. Soon, William received his first picture. The first picture he received was a photo taken in his school's courtyard, with Capone sitting on one of the benches. Capone was covered in his black, matted fur, with his knife-like claws, a set of blank, pure white eyes, and that face, which was merely a skull belonging to some kind of large beast, looking directly at them with that large, wolfish grin. William gave the phone back to Sarah, telling her how terrifying it was, and that he didn't want to receive such messages anymore. She just jokingly punched his shoulder, saying, "I'm sure he'll grow on you eventually. Tell you what, if you can put up with him for 1 whole week, we'll go see that movie you've been wanting to see. If he still gives you nightmares, we'll delete it. If you end up liking it, we'll laugh about it later. Deal?" William looked at it again and unwillingly agreed to it. Sarah was ecstatic after that and showed him all the pictures she received. She only had 3 so far, 1 at her office, 1 at the park, and another on the road they lived on, each picture containing her own clearly visible entity. Sarah told William that she had named it Cassandra. After that night, William continued to get pictures of Capone for a while, following him at school, the bus stop, his street, virtually everywhere he went. Some days later, William got called out from class by Sarah. While driving back home, she kept asking questions about Capone. Sarah then told him they were being pursued by something. She had no idea on how they were doing it, but she knew that they knew where she and William lived. She couldn't figure out how to delete it. She said she tried everything but couldn't find a way to get rid of it. She couldn't even find where the app went. Suddenly, William got a text from the app. Sarah froze and stared at him, as if to say, "Don't look at it." But he did it. The photo was taken from the hood of the moving car, giving them a clear view of what was behind them. Capone took up most of the back seat and towered over William. They both turned around, preparing to scream at the monstrosity behind them. But when they did, the seat was empty. They didn't know what was happening or what to make of it, but they felt that the only thing to do is to run away, abandoning the car. They hastily ditched the car, ran the rest of the way to the apartment, and locked the door behind them. They locked themselves in the bathroom and waited. They just stayed there, even when they got a message from Cassandra or Capone. Sarah would scream at them, asking why they were following them, and begged for them to be left alone. They felt helpless. All they could do was just sit in the bathroom and hope they would go away. The room felt like their only safe haven, until they were exposed to them for too long. Sarah started to panic, saying that she kept seeing one of them behind her. He tried to calm her down by telling her that maybe they were not really there. Then he saw Capone in the mirror. William convinced Sarah that they needed to leave the room right away. They couldn't stay in the apartment forever. They called the police and they both got help. Everyone's case was different in terms of interaction, but for William, Capone was always in a mirror or some reflective thing large enough to show it. Capone was predictable, and William could always find ways to block him out when he needed it. He learned how to expect Capone, and after a while, Capone kind of grew on him. Capone always seemed to try and interact with him, even if William didn't understand what it was trying to say most of the time. But he would greet Capone with a casual wave as he passed by it from the living room mirror, and eventually, Capone started to wave back. Capone kind of became a constant companion to William. However, Sarah was not as lucky as William. Her case was much more serious. She saw Cassandra everywhere she looked and around every corner. Unfortunately, Sarah couldn't handle it anymore and took her own life. Now, every time he sees Capone, he is reminded of what he did in the car that day. If he didn't pick up that text, she would still be here. But then again, who would have known? No one knows who made the MalOs or why. No one knows if anyone actually made the app. 2 years since the incident, William learned how to get used to Capone being there and carry on with his life. Despite everything, William found himself talking to it, like one would talk to a dog or cat about their day when they're alone. William always said to Capone, "At least I know you're interested." While the batteries were launched towards the repair drone, it was destroyed by a shell launched from SCP-2399. Command lost contact with Barrier Unit 45 15 seconds after the initial discharge. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-2399. SCP-2399, also known as A Malfunctioning Destroyer, is a massive and complex mechanical structure that is currently located in Jupiter's lower atmosphere. Since its visual discovery in 1963, 2399 has been observed heavily. It is noted for its use of highly advanced antimatter-based weaponry, which it uses to create spatial disruptions and devastating atmospheric fluctuations. These events are observable as a large red vortex, commonly known as the Great Red Spot. SCP-2399 appears to be damaged, possibly due to an impact with the Jupiter's rocky moon Io, before coming to rest in its current position. 2399 has been observed releasing multiple small, octopoid repair drones in efforts to repair the damage it has taken. Some of these drones will remain near 2399, while others will patrol nearby moons, or venture out deeper into the gases of Jupiter in search of parts that 2399 is missing. Computers estimate that 2399 is at 59% completion and has been growing at a rate of 0.78% annually. Due to 2399's location and nature, physical means of containment are currently impossible. Foundation agents stationed in major observatories are to retrieve and contain footage or images of 2399. At present, false information has thus far been able to completely suppress any knowledge pertaining to 2399 from public awareness. SCP Foundation satellites in orbit around Jupiter are to maintain constant vigilance of 2399's reconstruction efforts and make all attempts to hinder that process if 2399 reaches a minimum of 75% completion. Additionally, a perimeter of long-range electromagnetic jamming satellites known as Barrier Array have been situated in high Jupiter orbit. Any transmissions intercepted by this array are to be summarily decoded and logged. Despite its damaged state, 2399 seems to possess a limitless power supply, along with advanced electromagnetic shielding, matter-disrupting weaponry, the ability to repair damage done to itself, and a precise tracking and targeting system. These abilities were proven when Barrier Unit 53 observed one of 2399's repair drones as it navigated closely to a piece of debris, which was quickly determined to be part of a damaged communications array. Because of the nature of this specific component and the ramifications of allowing 2399 to recover it, it was ordered that Barrier Unit 45 fire upon the drone with its onboard concussion batteries. Batteries were discharged. However, the drone appeared undamaged. Footage obtained by Barrier Unit 53 shows that while the batteries were launched towards the repair drone, it was destroyed by a shell launched from SCP-2399. Command lost contact with Barrier Unit 45 15 seconds after the initial discharge. In a later video observation, it was found that the abnormal phenomenon of 2399 led to the termination of Barrier Unit 45 by Barrier Units 44, 51, and 55. After this incident, under no circumstances were Barrier Units permitted to further engage either 2399 or drones released by 2399. Due to the large difference in technological advancement between the creator of 2399 and humans, 2399 is currently indestructible. In theory, 2399 might be left vulnerable by a powerful enough electromagnetic pulse. But unfortunately, this technology does not yet exist. Since 1971, SCP-2399 has been receiving an unending stream of electromagnetic-based communications from the Triangulum Galaxy, which is roughly 3 million light-years from Earth. From 1971 to 1985, SCP-2399 continuously received a single encoded message which, through code breaking and translation efforts, appeared to be a command to repair the damage it incurred upon entering our solar system. After this time, the Barrier Array was established to intercept these messages. This coincided with a period of radio silence from the origin of communications until 1996, when a different order began transmitting. The Barrier Array has prevented 2399 from receiving this command thus far. Below is the addendum written by the director of Barrier Project. We're here to protect those who can't protect themselves from things that they wouldn't even know to protect themselves from. We can't do it all, though. As many things as we've been able to contain, and as many things as we've been able to keep under lock that would threaten to destroy us all, there are still far too many that remain. Whether they are too big, too fast, or too powerful, any of these things could blink and wipe humanity from existence. The fact that they haven't done so yet is just luck. SCP-2399, however, is different. We have little information regarding 2399's motives, origins, and full capabilities. We do not understand how it is capable of communicating over such large distances, or why those who constructed it, if it was in fact constructed, sent it to us in the first place. We do not know what would happen if 2399 becomes successful in fully repairing itself, or if part of our array would break down enough to allow a message to get through. We do not know this, so we must assume the worst. Judging by what we have seen, were 2399 to have reached Earth, it would have led to our timely destruction. Sometimes, however, humanity gets a little help. Sometimes something steps in the way of the apocalypse. For us, and for 2399, it was Jupiter. As 2399 began to slow on its approach to Earth, a researcher saw what we've been able to ascertain, that 2399 struck Io, was damaged, and was unable to escape the gravitational pull of Jupiter. Its weapons activated as they were intended, but it was Jupiter that experienced doomsday, not us. Eventually, though, it's likely that 2399 will resume full functionality and will likely be able to pull away from Jupiter and proceed to its target. As of now, we can keep hurling bombs and EMPs at it all we want, but we have got no indication that any of it will so much as scratch the thing. In fact, much to the contrary, experience dictates it would do nothing at all. If this were to happen now, we would undoubtedly be destroyed. Jupiter has given us time. For now, 2399 will remain there, reassembling itself, while we devise some way to stop it. Like it or not, we are in an arms race with this thing. Our best guesses give us something like 25 years until it is able to hear past our dampening array. Until then, we must seize the opportunity that has been laid before us. We must use the time we have been given and not let it be wasted. So we devised Protocol Legionnaire. One gigantic EMP, powered by God knows what, followed by a volley of nukes big enough to wipe out our civilization 1,000 times over. A blunt plan, and simple, likely futile. Our researchers, and researchers around the globe, have yet to devise a way to deliver that kind of pulse, let alone a way to power it. There is no indication whatsoever that we will be able to complete Legionnaire on time, or if it will do what is intended once it is completed. But we must try. We must do something. Even if we have to drain our banks and empty our minds, we must try. Not often do we get a chance to see the swerving bus that will end our lives and step out of the way. Jupiter, unknowingly, has offered us that chance. I suggest we take it. SCP Foundation decided that necessary force would be authorized to destroy or incapacitate SCP-2399. Using Foundation resources, as well as resources from 45 nations, a platform of numerous warheads bearing large amount of MT payloads and several warheads bearing EMP detonators was launched and placed in orbit around Europa. A few hours later, 15 heads of state ordered the entire payload of Project Gigas to be launched towards 2399. Sadly, the operation failed, and 2399 has not been destroyed. Efforts to develop alternative methods of eliminating 2399 are currently underway.